Sleep is a lot like money and good luck, where it's hard to have too much of it. So that is why I invited Christine Hansen, a sleep consultant from Sleep Like a Boss, to help us as expats understand how, despite all the craziness of expat life, we can get better quality sleep or more of it. All right, hello. Today I'm bringing to you a well-known sleep expert in Europe who's got started as a certified pediatric sleep consultant and has recently been making her way fast and furious in the corporate context for adults. Christine Hansen has generously offered her time today to give us the scoop on sleep science and what she calls sleep hygiene, which I'm curious what that is, because if there's any group that I know that could use more sleep, it's expats. We spend our time going through multiple time zones to see families. We exhaust ourselves moving in during times of transition, and we go hard at our jobs and to support our families. So Christine, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us.
Well, thank you for this amazing introduction.
It's true. So I've known Christine for a while, and believe me, you've got to pay attention to what she says because she definitely knows some of the results. So
I'll do my best.
So what I want to start out with, I really want to know, because you also have lived abroad. You're very international. You understand expat life. Based on your personal and professional experience, I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the top mistakes that internationals make when it comes to getting really good quality sleep?
I think you kind of really want to do everything at once. If you're someone who lives internationally, you want to do everything. You want to do your business, you want to soak up the culture, you want to, at the beginning at least, you still want to see all the landmarks, you want to enjoy the food, you want to meet new friends, you want to get to know the local TV shows, you want to do it all. If you have kids, you need to involve them. And so sleep is the first thing that you sacrifice, usually. It's like, I have one more thing to do. But the thing is that if you don't get enough sleep, it's really going to affect everyday life a lot. And so that's kind of where most people, not just expats, but a lot of people go wrong. It's really sacrificing it first. It's so easy, you just stretch your day a little bit longer. And as a result, you have a price to pay in a way.
Yeah. I definitely know. I know what the price is. I just had a very shortened night of sleep because an alarm went off in our house that woke me up at 4:55 in the morning, and I honestly paid for it all day long. The quality of my day was lower. My concentration was lower. My mood was worse. I was less patient. So I definitely know that impact can be felt right away. So my incident was something I couldn't control. It was an external thing that robbed me of extra sleep. What I'm hearing you say is we rob ourselves of sleep, often in the hopes of, maximizing our time. So give me a persuasive argument. Why should I change my structure so I get more sleep, instead of eking out that one more hour of whatever it is that we do?
Well, it's basically, I think it's always so funny when people say that they want to kind of get more time by sleeping less, because it's the opposite. Like, really, if you don't sleep enough, yes, you might squeeze out that a bit of time, but at the same time, what you're getting is not productive at all. So let's take an example. If you take that time to work, you most likely have to go back to it because it's full of mistakes, it's sloppy because you were tired. So you spend actually twice the amount of time on one task rather than going to bed, getting your sleep, and doing it once powerfully and done. So whenever people say, but I need more time, I really have to smile because that's not what they're doing. They really waste a lot of time, a lot of unproductive time. So that's one main key thing. The other thing is that you have to think long term. Like, we are not immortal, and our body it's great. it can cope with a lot of things, but it's also very fragile. So if you think that we have the head and our brain that's connected to this whole body, your brain not working quite the way it should be is affecting everything. It's connecting all of your connections. It's connecting your nerves, your bloodstreams. It's connecting everything. So if that is not working quite well and your body has to get resources from here and from there, you're going to end up having a mess, and that's what's sometimes referred to as metabolic chaos. And that has consequences. So long term can even be 2 weeks, you will have some symptoms coming up. And those symptoms could be anything. It could be suddenly that you have digestive issues. It could be tons of different things. And if it's just a small symptom and you can rectify it, that's fine. But long-term, really long-term, over years, you can develop things like diabetes. You're going to have problems with digestion so that you can even become obese. You can have a heart attack or you can have strokes. The risks are so much higher if you sacrifice sleep. So in the end, the only thing that you are saving up or shortening is your lifespan. So saying that I want to get more time by sacrificing sleep is actually robbing you of time in the long term. And that's kind of what I want people to start to understand. Okay, you never know what is going to happen. You might be run over by that famous bus that apparently runs over everyone. But if you don't, best case scenario, you want to take care of yourself, to have a healthy life. And sleep is just non-negotiable for me.
Okay. So the long term, I never really thought about the long term impact. I know that when if I push the envelope in terms of staying up later, the quality of my work might be okay that night from 11 to 12, but the next day I'm sort of spinning, like trying to create concentration and focus. So what do we need to do? You talked about sleep hygiene. I have a hunch that has something to do with it. Like, what can we do in small ways where we're making sure that we're creating enough space for sleep, and that when we do sleep, we get a high quality sleep?
I think one of the things is that you need to figure out how much sleep you actually need. And that is actually easier, but it takes a little bit of discipline, because most of the time it's actually less than you think. Like the 8 hours of sleep, not everyone needs that much. Most of the people actually need a little bit less. Sometimes they need a little bit more. But what I would really champion you to do is to take a couple of weeks and figure out how much sleep you need. And the way to do that is actually to reverse engineer it. So actually go from a place where you get just about not enough sleep. So go to bed a little bit later, but force your body to wake up at the same time. So go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, and your body is going to consolidate everything. And then you will work your way towards getting enough sleep. So if you notice that, okay, you go to bed at that time, let's say 1 a.m., and you get up every day at 6, it's 5 hours, you do that for a week, you realize, okay, I slept right through for the last 6 days, but I'm still a little bit tired. Then you would work your way backwards. You'd go to bed at 12:30, then you would go to bed at 12. And what would happen is that because your body is so used to consolidate, it's just going to add it up so that you can get a nice long stretch of sleep. And that's you will find the sweet spot where you will be able to go to bed, fall asleep, and wake up just before the alarm, but not in a way that it's annoying, but actually, okay, I'm done sleeping. And that's when you have the perfect
thing. Okay, that's good. And what I'm hearing there too is also pay attention to your body. How did it go this week? Where did you get tested? Were you able to concentrate? So work back. That's great.
And also stay consistent. Most people go like all over the place. They work differently over the weekend and then during the week, and it's very confusing, especially if you're someone who doesn't get great sleep. Really try to stick to the times.
What do we do, as expats? Sometimes it's hard to have consistency when you're traveling, especially if you have children. What do we do when we, based on the structure of what's going on in our lives in a temporary moment, how do we make sure that we optimize?
The best thing you can always do is have a routine. And a routine is really the same steps in the same order every night, including weekends. And that's not just for kids, it's also for adults. It's really easy to train the brain. Like I said before, the brain is incredibly complex, but it's very easy to train. So set up a routine for yourself, for your kids, and just keep that. And it can include all kinds of things. You know, it can include a bath, it can include washing your face and just taking a little bit longer with that. It can include fragrances, which I actually really like, especially for kids, because your body really reacts to that. So having a certain fragrance that you take with you when you stay over at a place for a couple of days or a couple of weeks can really create that sense of home. And, you know, as soon, especially for kids, as soon as they close their eyes and they have the smell that they know, it's really comforting for them and for adults too.
That could be good for jet lag as well, because we're trying to convince our kids to go to bed when the time zones are different from their body. And if we have the story, the fragrance, and the who knows what, the song, then they get triggered to think, okay, it's sleep time.
Yes.
So another thing that I don't know if we've already talked about this already, but I work with people who are very busy. They're trying to fill in their busy lives, their family, time for themselves. And some people are going from the morning till night, and they've had no private time. They've literally been just going, meeting at everybody's needs all day long. Everybody's finally in bed, and they're like, oh, I have time for myself. So they want to stay up and, I don't know, watch a movie, or they want to read a book. And now we're getting close to that window of where their zone of when they should be sleeping. What do you recommend to those people who are just dying to have their own time before they go to bed, but are pushing kind of on the boundary of the sleep?
This is a tough one because it really depends on your family situation, whether you have kids, whether you have a partner where you can say, okay, we take turns, anything where you can schedule it. And that sounds very unflexible, but it's really the only thing that works when you have a lifestyle like that. Schedule it. Take a babysitter on that night, or talk to your partner and just say, okay, that night I'm not even at home. You know, this is my time. Goodbye. Check into your hotel. Do whatever you have to do. Schedule it in, and because you know that otherwise it's not going to happen, you know, otherwise it's just going to be the same as every night, and then just schedule it, and then that way you don't have to try to fit it in every night, and that way kind of diffusing the lateness over every night, but you can go to bed and look forward to the day when you have your time off, or your 2 days, or however you can make it fit. I think that's the most efficient way of doing it.
Okay. So we kind of have some pretty unsexy things about sleep. We're talking about structure. We're talking about routines.
It's not always sexy. That's true.
So what are the benefits? Like, we both know intuitively there's benefits, but can you just articulate some of sort of the compelling reasons why I shouldn't push it, why we shouldn't watch that extra Netflix? What are the hard scientific or emotional or productivity benefits that we have when we prioritize these things?
Everything. It's very easy. Everything. So just from the obvious ones, you're not a nice person if you didn't sleep enough. You know, let's just talk about that for a second. You know, no one is. I'm not either. You know, I'm a gremlin as soon as I don't get enough sleep. So you will not be a nice coworker, you will not be a nice partner, you will not be a nice parent. And it's not your fault, it's just the way that things happen. But that's the most obvious one. You're not a nice person, you don't feel well, you don't feel great, you just think about sleep all the time because you're tired, you're annoyed, you get sick very easily. So if you're someone who values that productivity, the chances that you grab or that you catch that bug that's going around in the office are like so much higher if you don't get the sleep that you actually should be getting. And then for me, it's very individual, but people always know, you know, when I ask them, how does it affect your life? All my clients know. They tell me, okay, I was actually told by a coworker or a team member that I snapped at them, or they said, I completely forgot to pick up my kid from school. I was so tired. I had no idea. I just forgot. Or they tell me that they get really angry at themselves. You know, they're like, I really want to, but I just don't get myself to do it. And, you know, that's why I now feel terrible and I have a bad conscience because I know all that stuff. And, you know, most people that I work with, they Google themselves silly. They know But the difference between knowing and actually doing is a tough one.
I say that all the time. Yep.
And that's like kind of where you can get an accountability buddy, you can get someone like me to work with you, or, you know, just really write down how it is affecting you and just keep it in front of you, because it's a simple solution in terms like if you really do it, it's going to make everything so much better, but you need to experience it for a while. And if you have, and then you go back, you cannot believe what you've been putting up with.
You know, I think that's a really important point, that most people that I talk to who are running on adrenaline and not sleep have forgotten what it feels like to feel good.
Yeah.
They forgot what it feels like to feel rested, and they forgot how productive and what performance they can deliver when they're really well rested. So
Absolutely.
if I can sort of summarize one tip for anybody who's listening right now, I would say try it consistently for 2 weeks. Just give it a shot. Structure, consistency, routine, prioritizing. And if you don't feel amazing after those 2 weeks, if you're not feeling the benefits, then go back to the old.
Yeah.
But you guaranteed will feel better after 2 weeks.
Exactly. And I think it also always depends, you know, some people want to, but they can't. You know, that's also, I don't want to say that everyone knows and is just not doing it. I think there's tons of people like that, but there's also people who literally can't do it, you know, who are so sensitive and anxious. And in that case, I just say, you know, don't worry too much about it, especially at night. If you wake up, you've been managing pretty well for a long time, you know, so you will be able to cope. And that alone is just going to lift some stress off the shoulders to say, okay, good, I can actually do that. And the second thing is always remember what you're doing it for. Don't just go ahead and try and do it. You need a reason, whether that is your job, whether that is your family, whether that is anything but you. And that sounds a little bit weird, but we tend to prioritize ourselves always last. So I always encourage people to find a reason that's not them, that's either bigger than them or something that they love even more than themselves.
Yeah, great advice. So one last question. If people who are listening want one small thing they can do, they want to make one tiny change today and experiment with it, what would be the one thing that they could do?
The one thing that I'd make them do, I would, especially if they're busy, I would really encourage them to take 5 minutes during the day and take a journal and write down all the crap that's in their head. So take everything that might be haunting you at night, or that might make you even not want to go to bed because you will know that it's coming to pop up. Take it and write it down, get it out of your brain. And that is incredibly helpful to diffuse anything that might be psychologically hindering you from sleeping.
Great. Oh, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've got to stop here. I could talk to you until another time, but we won't. So, Christine, how can we get a hold of you if we want to be in touch with you?
The easiest thing is via my website, so sleeplikeaboss.com, and you can get in touch with me there. You can just click the contact button, or you can download 20 sleep hacks, and those will get you on track as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Christine. It's been a pleasure.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.